Hey everyone, welcome back to Soulful Verse. Tonight, I have something new and 4 different bone-chilling and scary ghost stories for you from the Canadian highways. I hope you will enjoy these eerie tales as much as I enjoyed putting them together for you. These stories are filled with eerie encounters and unexplained phenomena that will leave you looking over your shoulder. So sit back, turn off the lights, and get ready for 4 spine-tingling tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Number 1. Jake was a truck driver who had been on the road for nearly 20 years. One night, he was driving on Highway 401, heading east toward Kingston. It was very dark, and the road was quiet. He hadn't seen any other cars for miles. Jake was tired but kept driving. As Jake drove, he saw someone standing by the side of the road. It looked like a person asking for a ride. Jake slowed down and saw it was a young woman in a white dress. She looked pale and sad. Jake usually didn't pick up hitchhikers, especially at night, but he felt sorry for her. He stopped the truck and rolled down the window. "Can I get a ride to Kingston?" the woman asked. Her voice was soft and sad. Jake agreed, and she climbed into the passenger seat. As soon as she got in, the air in the truck turned very cold. Jake turned up the heater, but it didn't help. The woman sat quietly, staring straight ahead. Jake tried to talk to her, but she didn't respond. Her hands looked very cold and blue. After a few miles, the woman whispered, "I died here, right here." Jake's heart pounded. He looked at her, but she was gone. The seat was empty, but the door was still locked. Jake pulled over and looked around, but he didn't see her anywhere. Scared, he drove to the nearest truck stop in Kingston. He told other truckers what happened. They nodded and said they knew about her. She was a ghost of a woman who had died in a car crash years ago on that road. Jake never drove that way at night again. Number 2. Tom was driving on the Trans-Canada Highway, heading west towards Banff, Alberta. He had been driving for hours and decided to stop at a rest stop near Lake Louise. It was a dark night, and the rest stop was far from any town. Tom parked his truck and got out to stretch his legs. The place was empty and very quiet. As Tom walked towards the restroom, he felt uneasy. The air felt heavy. He shrugged it off and went inside. While washing his hands, he saw a shadow moving behind him in the mirror. He turned around, but no one was there. His heart started to race. He quickly dried his hands and left the restroom. As Tom walked back to his truck, he saw a figure standing by the driver's door. It looked like a man, but his face was hidden. Tom called out, asking if he needed help, but the figure didn't move. As Tom got closer, the figure vanished. Scared, he jumped into his truck and locked the doors. Tom tried to calm down and turned on the radio, but it only made static noises. Then the lights in his truck flickered, and the radio played a voice saying, "You shouldn't have stopped here." Tom was terrified. He started the truck and drove away fast. He didn't stop until he reached a busy truck stop in Banff. He told other truckers what happened. They said that rest stop was haunted by ghosts of people who had died there years ago. Tom never stopped there again. Number 3. Mike was driving north on Highway 2 towards Peace River, Alberta. It was a foggy night, and he could barely see the road. He slowed down as he approached the old Dunvegan Bridge. The bridge looked old and creepy. As he drove onto it, he saw a woman standing in the middle of the bridge. Mike honked his horn, but the woman didn't move. She was wearing a long, dark dress and had wide, staring eyes. Mike stopped the truck and got out to see if she needed help. As he walked towards her, she vanished into the fog. Confused and scared, Mike hurried back to his truck. Just as he was about to drive off, he heard a loud bang on the back of his truck. He got out again and checked, but there was nothing there. His heart was pounding as he climbed back into the cab. As he started to drive, he looked in the rearview mirror and saw the woman sitting in the back seat. Her eyes were staring at him. He swerved and almost drove off the bridge. When he looked again, she was gone. The seat was empty. Mike drove fast until he reached Peace River. At a diner, he told the locals what had happened. They said the bridge was haunted by a woman who had died in a car accident there years ago. Mike never drove that way at night again. Number 4. Steve, a seasoned truck driver, had driven countless miles across Canada. One night, he was driving his rig along Highway 16, also known as the Yellowhead Highway, heading towards Prince George, British Columbia. This highway, running through the dense forests and rugged mountains, was beautiful by day, but turned eerie and desolate by night. Steve had been on the road for hours and had not seen another vehicle for miles. The clock on his dashboard read 1:30 a.m., and the dark, starless night seemed to swallow his truck whole. The road ahead was a narrow ribbon, flanked by thick, shadowy trees that seemed to close in around him. As Steve drove through this remote stretch, he felt a growing sense of unease. The air inside the cab turned cold, and a thick fog began to roll in, reducing visibility to just a few feet. Steve switched on his fog lights and slowed down, trying to focus on the road. Suddenly, he saw headlights in his rearview mirror. They were far behind him, but seemed to be gaining quickly. Relieved at the thought of another vehicle on this lonely road, Steve kept an eye on the approaching lights. However, as the lights got closer, he realized there were several sets of headlights, not just one. Within minutes, 3 trucks appeared behind Steve, forming a convoy. Their headlights were blindingly bright, and their engines roared loudly, filling the quiet night with an ominous sound. Steve wondered why he hadn't seen or heard them earlier. It was as if they had appeared out of nowhere. Steve felt a chill run down his spine. He tried to ignore the convoy and focus on the road ahead. But then, something strange happened. The convoy began to match his speed exactly, maintaining a perfect distance behind him. No matter how much he sped up or slowed down, they stayed right on his tail. Feeling increasingly unnerved, Steve decided to pull over at the next rest stop, hoping the convoy would pass him. He soon spotted a rest area sign and took the exit, his heart pounding. The convoy followed him off the highway and into the rest area. Steve parked his truck and watched in his side mirrors as the 3 trucks pulled in behind him, their headlights still glaring. Steve stepped out of his cab, the cold night air hitting his face. He walked towards the first truck, but as he approached, the lights suddenly turned off and the engines fell silent. The trucks were now shrouded in darkness, and there was no movement inside. "Hello," Steve called out, but there was no response. He knocked on the door of the first truck, but no one answered. He moved to the second and then the third, but all were the same, dark and silent. A sense of dread washed over Steve. He walked back to his truck, his heart racing. As he climbed back into the cab, he glanced in the mirror again and saw faint figures inside the trucks. They looked like shadows, barely visible in the dim light. Suddenly, one of the figures turned towards him, its eyes glowing red. Steve's blood ran cold. He started the engine and sped out of the rest area, back onto the highway. The convoy followed him, their lights and engines roaring back to life. This time, they were even closer, almost pushing him off the road. Desperate, Steve floored the accelerator, trying to outrun them. But no matter how fast he drove, the convoy stayed right behind him. The road ahead twisted and turned through the dense forest, the fog making it even more treacherous. Then, Steve saw a figure standing in the middle of the road. It was a man, dressed in old-fashioned clothes, with a wide-brimmed hat pulled low over his face. Steve swerved to avoid him, narrowly missing the trees on the side of the road. When he looked back, the man was gone, but the convoy was still there, relentless in their pursuit. Steve's hands shook as he gripped the steering wheel. He had to find a way to escape. He remembered a small town called Tête Jaune Cache, just a few miles ahead. If he could reach the town, maybe he could lose the convoy in the streets. As he neared the town, the fog began to lift, but the convoy was still right behind him. He took the first turn into Tête Jaune Cache, speeding through the quiet, deserted streets. The town was dark, with only a few streetlights casting eerie shadows. Steve made sharp turns, trying to shake off the convoy, but they followed every move, their headlights glaring in his mirrors. Finally, he saw a small, run-down motel with a gravel parking lot. He turned into the lot, hoping to hide his truck among the other parked vehicles. He switched off his lights and engine, crouching low in his seat, watching the road. The convoy roared past the motel, their headlights sweeping over the parking lot, but not stopping. Steve held his breath, waiting until the sound of the engines faded into the distance. Relieved but still shaking, Steve climbed out of his truck and walked to the motel office. An old man behind the counter looked up as he entered, his eyes narrowing with suspicion. Steve quickly explained what had happened, hoping the man would believe him. The old man listened quietly, then nodded slowly. "You're not the first," he said in a raspy voice. "Those trucks, they've been haunting this highway for years. Drivers say they see a convoy of ghost trucks, always at night, always following. They say it's the spirits of drivers who died on this road long ago, doomed to drive it forever." Steve shuddered. He took a room key from the old man and walked to his room, glancing back at his truck one last time. The night was silent again, but he knew he would never forget the terror of the ghostly convoy that had chased him through the dark, foggy night. Steve never drove that stretch of Highway 16 at night again, haunted by the memory of the phantom trucks that had pursued him relentlessly. He warned other drivers about the ghostly convoy, but many didn't believe him until they experienced it themselves. Thank you for joining me on this chilling journey through Canada's haunted highways. This is a new type of content I'm trying out, and I hope you enjoyed these bone-chilling ghost stories. If you liked this video, please let me know in the comments, and I'll create more spooky tales just like these. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Soulful Verse. Thank you for watching, and stay safe out there on the roads. See you next time.
Long journey I took off, boarded into a flying bus. The beautiful day I remember, still on board for 7 years. On a long trip, twists and turns, some stored as memories, some are gone. Ups and downs, a beauty that never ends. Time has been the same ever since. With the same excitement unlike others, I am just another passenger, hoping to move forward without a long stop. Yet hope lights up with every little shock. Just beside me, seated a beautiful soul. We both are headed for a common goal. We chat, dine and rest at the same time. Together, pray and thank God often. On a daily basis, we wish good luck and health. Truly caring, worrying for each other. Many springs we danced and sang along, wrote many poems and songs all day long. In the hot summer, baked our bad dreams, worked happily as if something wonderful done. With the same excitement unlike others, I am just another passenger, hoping to move forward without a long stop. Yet hope lights up with every little shock. Just beside me, seated a beautiful soul. We both are headed for a common goal. Many autumns shared our feelings, hugged each other, hope for snowmen and candles for winters. Many festivals and Christmases we witnessed, and to us two precious gifts God has blessed. Time has flown, nothing to rethink. Days and nights busy, bringing blessings to the world for remedy. Darkest nights and wildest roars, hearts cold, minds empty, with many silences and fears. The journey's still on, no doubts to look back. Felt like weeks since the first day I boarded in. Years have passed, but service few times, but kept running strong. Lost when the soul beside me got off. Scared feelings of loneliness, fear of depression, the promises made and dreams dreamt. Hope to be boarded together again, with the same excitement unlike others. I'm just another passenger, hoping to move forward without a long stop. Yet hope lights up with every little shot. Just beside me, seated a beautiful soul. We both are headed for a common goal. Nothing has broken me, I still feel you beside me. Sky so clear, blue clouds disappear without a clue. Imagine seeing you through, birds sing the music from the river flow. Still on the same bus for 7 years, no matter repairs, saved me, kept me flowing. The time has always been the same ever since. Nothing has broken me, I still feel you beside me. Sky soon clear, blue clouds disappear without a clue. Imagine seeing you through, birds sing and music from the river flow. Still on the same bus for 7 years, no matter repairs, saved me, kept me flowing. The time has always been the same.